So let us start with the next topic, that is, so after creating a connection, so by using this data source connection, we can connect to any server. Okay, so you can connect to multiple servers, multiple SQL servers, and you can connect to multiple different types of servers also. Let us say one is SQL server, another one is Oracle server, another one is Teradata server. So like that, we can create n number of connections. Okay, and after creating the connections, so the place where we'll create the connections is the data sources. Okay, and we already see the difference between them. Now let me remove all the unwanted connections. So let me delete those connections. So if you want to remove any connection, you can just right click and delete it. Okay, let me go and delete this. Go and delete my unwanted connections. Okay, now let me see what is the database it is connecting. So you can go and see where it is connected to. So right now it is connected to DBVJ. Let me change it to our AdventureWorks. Okay, so I'm connected to the AdventureWorks data warehouse database. Okay, now after creating a connection to the existing underlying data source, okay, to the SQL Server database, so we have to prepare a data source view for our Cube database. Okay, so we have to prepare a separate database for our Cube database. So our main intention is to prepare the Cube database now. So, and once you create a connection to the SQL Server and in the database, AdventureWorks database, okay, so in that AdventureWorks database, we have hundreds of tables. Okay, but you want to improve the performance of so and so tables, or let us say your customer. So in your company, there are different modules out there. Okay, so in a particular project database, there are under that particular project there are different modules. Okay, so let us say some sales department or procurement department or inventory department, like that, no? So there are different modules. Now you want to prepare a cube database for only one particular module, not for all the modules. So you will create a separate database, okay, in the data source view for that particular module only. Okay, that is one type of preparing the cube database. So in that module, how many tables are there? You can just download those, only those tables. Okay, under your project database there may be hundreds of tables, but inside that module we have only 10 tables. Then you will prepare a separate database only for those 10 tables. That is one type of requirement. Another type of requirement is your customer will say that, hey Krishna, I want to, my business point is I want to know the category wise monthly or product wise monthly sales. Okay, so he will give a requirement like, hey, I want to analyze. How I want to analyze this? My product wise monthly sales or product wise yearly sales, like that. Then, as per his requirement, which are all the tables I needed? My database contains thousands of tables, but for this to achieve this requirement, so what his requirement? He wants to just know product wise monthly analyze, product wise monthly wise analysis. Okay, so is as per to satisfy his requirement, how many tables are required? So if I require product table, so he wants to go for product wise analysis, no, product table, and let us say uh, who is the employee making that sales, from who is the employee making selling that product. Okay, so employee master table and monthly sales, no? So you will require some date dimension table. Okay, and sales. So that sale amount is stored in which table? Let us say some sales table. So only these 4 tables is enough for me to achieve my customer requirement. Okay, to satisfy my customer requirement, I may require only these 4 tables. Okay, so which are tables you require? You will go and specify them in the data source view. You will create a separate database under this data source view. Data source view is nothing but a collection of items, okay, collection of tables. Okay, now let me create a data source view. So go to next. Now you can see. So you want to prepare a data source view, okay, by using which connection? Okay, you can see the already existing connection is showing here. Okay, now you can see here. If you want to create a new connection again, you can go and do it here also. Okay, suppose if this connection is not there, let me delete that connection also. Okay, I have deleted the existing connection also, and you can directly go to the data source view. Okay, click on new data source view, go to next, and there is no already existing data sources is not. Then what you can do is you can create a separate data source from here also by using this option. Go to next. Now let me select AdventureWorks data view, data warehouse. So give some impersonation. So let us say Balaji PC slash Krishna and something like Windows passport. Go to next and finish. Okay, now you can see I can use this existing source connection, data source connection, and I can prepare a data source view. Now you can see that data source is again back. Now go to next. Now under this database, under the AdventureWorks database, there might be thousands of tables. Now you can see it is showing the list of tables present in the underlying database. Okay, so as per your requirement, for which tables you want to build a cube database. Okay, you can go and select the required tables from this. Okay, so let us see that if you want dim product table, okay, or let us say that some sales table. Let me select the fact internet sales table. Okay, so this is my sales table or transaction table, and if you click on add related tables, it will get all the list of tables who has primary key relationship, primary key and foreign key relationship. Okay, so this is my sales table. With this table, if any tables has primary key relation, and if you click on this add related tables, so it will show the list of tables who are directly related to my sales table. Okay, let me, if you don't want any table, you can directly go and select the table and push it back. Now you can see it is showing that, okay, this is my sales table, and these dimension tables has direct relationship with my fact table, like this. Okay, so we have selected all the list of tables what you wanted, and if you want any other tables, you can directly go and add those tables also. Let us say that dim product category. If you want any other tables, you can go and select as per your requirement, like this. Okay, now let me remove those, and let me, if you don't want any other unwanted tables, if you don't want any other tables, you can push it back again. Okay, now after selecting the list of tables, okay, now you can see we have one more option here. So it will show the views and tables, and you can see we have one option called filter option here. So let us say you can view some filter name, let us say category. Okay, and put on filter. Okay, now you can see it will show the table names with those names. Okay, go to next. Okay, now you can see you are preparing some data source view. Okay, with the required columns, required tables you want. Okay, so if you want, you can give some name. Let us say DSV, data source view of adventure. Okay, now click on finish. That's it. Okay, so it will create a data source view for our SSAS solution. Okay, for our SSAS solution. So now for the next folders, okay, for the next folders, that is cube database or dimensions. So these folders, they don't have contact with the underlying source database. They will treat the whatever the tables present in this data source view. This data source view will act as a database for the next sections. Okay, whatever the tables present in the data source view, those tables only I can access in the remaining sections. Okay, not the not the not the not all the tables present in the data source. Okay, whatever the tables present in this data source view, these tables, okay, these tables only I can access for the remaining sections. This data source view will act as a database for the next sections. Okay, what is your doubt? So if you want a table with indirect relationships, okay, how to fill it among thousands of tables? Now what you can do is, so you can go to this data source view. So let me, now you can see that you can pull any table, whatever table you want, you can pull it. Okay, whichever table you want, you can directly select and push it. And if you have an indirect relationship, what you can do is, so this is your sales table, and this table has direct relationship. Okay, this table has direct relationship. Now select the dim product and click on add related tables. Now you can see the tables which are having a direct relationship with dim product are all coming here. Okay, now you can see dim product subcategory is there. Okay, let me remove the fact tables. Okay, so this dim product has a direct relationship with subcategory. Okay, now click on OK. Now you can see that. So now you can see that. So this dim product subcategory has no direct relationship with the fact table, with the sales table. Okay, so this is a indirect table. Okay, now you can see dim product has direct relationship with the fact table, and there is no direct relationship exists between this fact table and the subcategory. This is an indirect table. Okay, like that also you can. Okay, we'll go one by one. Okay, now this, now let me remove this table. Okay, now under this data source view, so this will contain the list of tables. So this list of tables only I can access for the future cube generation or for the future cube database. Okay, so this is will be the database for the next sections. Okay, and one of the interview question is what type of schema you have used in your data source view. What type of schema we have used? Okay, so what type of schema in a data source view? What is the first question they will ask is, okay, what type of schema you have used in your SSAS solution? So we have two type of schemas. One is star schema, another one is snowflake schema. Okay, so in the data source view, let me show you with example. So let us say that. So we have created a data source view. In that we have some fact table. Okay, you have one fact table. So in this case, sales table. Okay, so this my sales is my fact table, and you have one dimensions, multiple dimensions is there. Okay, if you have multiple dimensions, and so let us say this is product. Okay, so this is date dimension, and this is employee dimension, employee master dimension, and let us say this is some customer dimension. Okay, so these are all master tables in the SQL side, and we'll call it as dimensions in the SSAS side. And if all the dimensions are directly related to the fact table. All the dimensions are directly related to the fact table. Okay, by using the primary key and foreign key relationship. So if all the tables dimensions are directly related to the fact table, then this type of schema is called as star schema. Okay, so this type of schema is called as star schema. Okay, in the data source view, if your all the dimension tables are directly related to the fact table, then this type of schema is called as star schema. Why? Because it is looking like a star, no? Okay, and suppose I have, so in the situation we have saw just now, so we have one more table called subcategory tables. So this is my product subcategory. Okay, so this subcategory table is related to the product table, but there is no direct relationship existing between the fact table and the subcategory table. Then this type of design is called as, this type of schema is called as snowflake schema. Okay, this type of schema is called as snowflake schema. Okay, so this is called as snowflake schema. Okay, this type of schema is called as snowflake schema, and we will have some dimensions which are independent. Okay, so which are independent, they doesn't have this direct relationship, any relationship with the fact table at all. Okay, and we have multiple fact tables also. We have multiple fact tables also. Okay, so we have multiple fact tables present in our schema data source view. So this type of design is called as, so our Indian people has given some name for this design, that is a universe. They are calling this as universe, but there is no type of schema like that. Okay, so whatever the schema which are not at all star, which are not star. Okay, so any schema which is not a star schema, so all those will come into the snowflake schema design. All those will come into the snowflake schema design. So if you have a independent dimensions, this also is called as a snowflake schema. If you have an indirect relationship, this also is called as snowflake schema. If you have multiple facts, and if you have multiple facts in your design, this also called as snowflake schema. Okay, the schema which is apart from star. Okay, the scheme, the data source design which is not a star, all those will come into the snowflake schema. Okay, so here in our case, if you see here, so in our case, this is what type of schema? So this is what type of schema? Let me zoom to fit. So this is what type of schema? So every dimension will have a direct relationship, no? Will have a direct relationship to the fact table, no? Then this type of schema is called as star schema. Okay. And suppose, let me add a dim product subcategory table. And now you can see I have added one dim product subcategory. Now this is what type of schema? So there is no direct relationship between fact table and the subcategory. Then this type of design will come under the snowflake schema. Okay. Okay. So this is about data source view. And before going that, uh, when you are adding the tables, how will you select which is a fact table and which is a dimension table? Okay. So if your requirement is like, if the customer says if he wants to go for product monthly wise sales, okay, product monthly wise sales, okay, in that requirement, how he want to analyze that, say how he wants to analyze that, how part will become the dimensions. So if he wants to analyze product wise sales or category wise sales or customer wise sales, okay, so this how part will become the dimensions. And what he wants to analyze, he wants to analyze the sales, okay, sale amount. So that sale amount is present in which table? That is sales table. So that sales table, okay, what he wants to analyze, that what part will become the fact table. Okay, so you may get requirement in so many ways. So in that requirement, how he want to analyze that how part will becomes the dimension part, and what he wants to analyze that what part will becomes the fact table. Okay, now so we have selected the, we have filtered the tables which you required for your requirement. Okay, and we will call it as a data source view. So it is nothing but a view. Okay, now this will become the database for the next sections. Okay, now under this data source view, let us see what are the different properties available. Okay, now let me zoom it to 75%. So these are all the tables I have used. Okay, now let me see the properties section of this data source view. Now you can see we have list of properties here. Okay, so if I click on white canvas, I am getting some list of properties, and if I click on any table, now you can see we have some more properties. Okay, and if you click on any column, okay, and any attribute, now you can see we have some more properties. And here also, if you let me click on this, you can see we'll have some more properties. Okay, now let me explain about these properties. Okay, now let me first go for white canvas and I click on it. Now you can see one. First one is new named query. Okay, so what is this new named query means? So new named query is nothing but a view inside the data source view. Okay, it's called as a view inside the data source view. Okay, so what is a view in SQL? View is nothing but any valid SQL statement. Okay, what is a view in SQL? What is the meaning of a view in the SQL side? So view is nothing but any valid SQL statement will become a view, no? Okay, so here how you'll create a view in SQL side, create view name, let us say view employee, okay, as select star from so and so table, select star from table employee, okay, join with something like table primary, okay, so as A and B on A dot empid equal to B dot empid. Okay, so you will write a query. So this query is a valid query. Okay, so this query is a valid query. So any valid SQL statement. Okay, any valid SQL statement will become a. Let me go for TBS short. So this is a valid query or not? Now you can see this is a valid query. Okay, and you can put this valid query inside a view. Okay, you can create a view for any valid SQL statement. Okay, now let me get a dot star, and from the B table let me get B dot. So we have H B dot emp name as last name. Okay, now you can see that this is a valid query, and this valid query you can go and create a view for this valid query. So this is how we can create a view in SQL side. Okay, now you can just go and refer your view name. Like this, if you want to create a view on SSAS data source view, okay, now you can see I'm just executing my view name. Okay, like this, if you want to create a view in the data source view, okay, then we have to go for new name query. Okay, now let me see what is this. So let me right click on new named query, and I have selected that new named query. So somehow the system has become very slow. Now you can see that say new data source view is open. Okay, so I can give any name. Let us say view for category. Okay, so view for category at data source view. Okay, so I'm giving some name, and you can write any query here. Let me take some table, so I can go and write any query here. Let me take db category. Okay, and let me take subcategory table also. Okay, and you can select whichever columns you want to show, category key, and from this product subcategory and English name. So you are writing some query here, and if you click on OK, so now you can see a view is created, view category with the selected columns. Now you can see this is icon is different. This is looking like a table, and you can see the icon for the named query is different. Okay, so a view inside the data source view is called as a named query. Okay, we can write whatever SQL statement, and we can get the output as a stored as a named query. Okay, now I was able to create a database. I was able to create a view on the database. Okay, I was able to create a view on the database. Let me see whether I can add this view into my data source view or not. Okay, I have created a view here also. No, let me see whether I can add this view in this data source view. Now let me right click, add table. Now let us see whether the view employee is visible here or not. View underscore em. Okay, so where it was created, not under the adventure works. No, let me go and create a view under the adventure works. Now let me connect to this and click on new query. Now let me create a view. Okay, create view, view name. Okay, let us say view category database. Okay, or view category at database. Okay, as that we have select a star from in product category. Okay, as a join with dim product subcategory. Okay, as b on a dot category key equal to b dot product category key. Okay, so the same view I'm creating in the database side also. Let me say a dot product category key comma a dot product category name. Okay, and let me go for b dot product subcategory key. Okay, comma b dot English product subcategory name. Okay, now I have created a view on the SQL side also. Okay, the same table, the same query I'm using in the SQL side, and I'm creating a view on the database side also. Now you can see I have created a view in the database. Okay, and the view name is select star from. Now let me go and write select star from. Now you can see I was able to create a view in the database side. Let me see whether I can add this view in my data source view. Now let me go and add or remove tables. Now let me go for view underscore category underscore database site. Okay, let me set it. Now you can see I was able to see the view, and I can able to add the view to my data source. Okay, so one of the interview question is, if you are able to add a view that if you are able to create a view, or if you are able to add a view, add a existing database view into your data source view, that is DSV, then What is the difference between this view and this view? What is the difference between named query and the actual database view? Okay, so you are able to create a view in the database and you are able to add it. Okay, then why they have provided again separate option for creating a view at data source view level? What is the difference between those two? Okay, that is the interview question. So what is the difference is sometimes some of the let us say some customers, they don't provide access, okay, to create a view in the database side. So sometimes they won't provide access to create any objects, not only view. They don't provide access to create a table, create a view, function, store present, just they just provided only the read access. Okay, in those cases, how you can create a view? Okay, in those cases, we can take the help of data source new named query. We can take the help of new named query to create a view under the data source view. Okay, that is the first difference. And this data source view, whatever you created in the SSAS, the scope is limited to this DSV only. It won't create a view in the underlying database. Okay, now your view name is view category DSV. No, you can go and see the database. Okay, is not available here. It's not available. It won't go and create a view under the underlying data source view. Underlies database. Now you can say in the actual advanced works database that view is not present. Okay, whatever the view you are creating under this DSV, okay, those are limited to this data source view only, to this SSA solution only. It won't go and create in the underlying database. That is one of the beautiful option. So how many views you want, you can go and create it here. Why? Because it is not applicable, it is not going and creating in the underlying database. Okay, so that is the only difference between the actual database view and the new named query in the DSV, in the data source view. Understood? So if you don't have permission to create a view in the underlying database, then you can come and create your new named query. And this new named query, whatever you are creating, the scope of this new named query is limited to the DSV only. It is not going to create a view in the underlying database. Understood? Okay. Now, now let me go for next option, that is add or remove tables. Okay. The next option is if you want to add a new table, you can go and add a new table here. Okay. If you want to add any other table to your solution or to your data source view, you can go and directly add a table like this. Okay. Now you can see a table dim product category is added. Okay. So that is the use of add or remove tables. If you want to remove table, you can go and just remove a table like this. If you want to remove this, you can go and select it and delete it. Okay, like that. Now the third option is relationship. Okay. So let us see that new relationship. Okay. Now what is a relationship? Now as I am telling here, so my fact table and my dimension table are related to each other now. And if you want to see the relationship, now you can see, you can directly go to this, click on that link, and you can see that my sales table is a foreign key table. And from this table, I have one product key column. So in this table, I have one product key column, and the primary key table is dim product. And in this table also, I have one product key column. Okay, in this table also I have one product key column. So if the same name exists with the same data, so I can create a relationship between these two by using this. Now you can see a relation is already existing. Okay, so that is called a creating a relationship. Okay, this is showing the existing relationship. Okay, now how it is related? Okay, how it is showing it as related? How it is showing is in the underlying database, there is a primary key and foreign key relationship is already existing in the underlying database. So that's why it has detected that relationship and the relationship is shown here. So these two tables are already related in the database by using the primary key and foreign key constraint. So that's why when I add those tables, that relationship also is coming. Okay. Now, if the relationship is not there, if the primary key and foreign key relationship is not there in the underlying database, okay, then how will you create a relationship in the SSAS side, in the data source view side? Okay. Now let me remove this relationship. Now I am removing that relationship. Now you can see my fact table and the dim product table are not connected to each other. Okay, are not connected to each other. Then how we can create a relationship? Okay, then you can right click on new relationship, and you can see here. So you can select what is your foreign key table. So it is already pointing to the sales table. And what is your primary key table? So to with which table you want to create a relationship? I want to create a relationship with dim product. Okay, so I want to create a relationship between my sales table and the dim product. Okay, so what is your foreign key? That is the transaction table. And what is your primary key table? That is my dim product. And you can see source columns, it will show the list of columns present in the sales table. We can select product key from this table, and in the dim product table it will show the list of columns present in the dim product table, and you can choose the appropriate mapping column. Okay, now if you click on OK, now you can see a relationship is created. Okay, you can see a relationship is created. Okay, now I have a relationship. Now you can see, let me delete this again. I'm removing the relationship again. Now we have on the empty canvas, if I go and select new relationship, it is, we already seen this. And if I select on the table, and you can see that we have one more new relationship is there. So if I select this option on the table, now you can see that this is already pointed to fact internet sales. No? Now let us see that dim product subcategory. Right click on new relationship. So now you can see that my table is already selected in the foreign key section. Okay, so it is also opening the same window, but only advantage is the prime foreign key table is already selected. Okay, so if I right click on this canvas and click on new relationship, so both are pointed to default table, first table in the list. Okay, again I have to go for dim product subcategory and here some other table. So I have to make two selections. But if I click on so and so table, and if you click on new relationship, already the first selection is already defined. So I can save some time. That's it. I can save some one step of time. Okay. Now, if you go to the table column or table attribute, now you can see if I right click on this column and click on, I have one more option called one more relationship is coming. Okay, so if I select this column and right click, and if I select this new relationship, now you can see the source column is already selected. It is opening the same window, but table is selected and also the column also is selected. So I can reduce two steps. Same window only, but I can reduce two steps. So if I click on this canvas, add new relationship, now you can see I have to select which table is a foreign key table and I have to select the column. Okay, but if I select the table, if I select the table, any table, and click on new relationship, the table is already selected. One step is reduced. And if I select on the column and right click on new relationship, so you can see two steps are reduced. Okay, that is the difference between the three options. Okay, now let me create a one more time the relationship between sales table and product table. Let me click on new relationship, and fact internet sales, it is already a first table, it is already selected. Click on product key and the primary key table, let me select the product, and the product is already selected. Click on it. Okay, so like this I can create a direct relationship. Okay, if it is not present in the database, I can create a relationship at the SSAS data source view also, like this. Okay, understood? Now let me go for, we have one more thing called show friendly names. Okay, let me go for this show friendly names. What is this friendly names means? Now we can see that what is the name of this table specified here. So it is showing fact internet sales dim product, like that. Now if I right click and if I uncheck this show friendly names, now you can see that it is showing dim product DBO, and it is dim product subcategory DBO, and dim currency DBO. Schema name also is coming here. Now if I select show friendly names, now you can see the schema name is not coming here. Okay, and for any table, let me select any table. I can create a friendly name. Now let me go to the properties of the table. Okay, and here you can see the friendly name is fact internet sales. I can go and rename it as sales. I can create a specify the friendly name for every table. Now you can see it is showing as sales. Now for dim product, let me go to the properties of the dim product and I can specify it as product. Okay. Now if I go for and uncheck this, you can see it is showing the actual name. Fact internet sales DBO, dim product DBO. And if I go for select this show friendly names, now you can see it is product and sales issue. Okay. So just giving a alias name. In SQL, we'll call it as alias names or nicknames, no? Like that. Okay. Now we have one more option called select all option is there. Suppose if you want to select all the tables, now you can see you can select all the tables and you can move it wherever you want. Okay, you can select all the tables and you can move the design which place you want, like this. Okay, so that is the use of select all. So you can select all the tables and you can view the design. So which is the correct place for you, you can go and do that, like that. Okay, now find the table. Okay, now what is this option is, so in your data source view you have, let us say, some 30 tables. Okay, and you want to search for a particular so and so table, and to search for a so and so table, what we have to do, we have to go and move it like this and we have to search it. Okay, if we want to go for dim product category, I have to go and search the entire data source view and I have to find dim product category. If I want to go for dim customer, I have to search again, I have to make it, scroll it again, and I have to search for dim customer, like this. So instead of you doing the manual search, okay, we can take the use of find table option. If I go for it, now you can see it is showing the list of tables, and if you want to see the product category table, go and select it and click on OK. Now you can see it is directly pointed to the dim product category. And if you click on find table again, and if you want to go for, let us say, dim promotion, click on OK. Now you can see it is directly taking you to the table. Okay, instead of use manually searching for the table, you can go and use the find table option. Okay, now we have one more thing is arrange tables. Okay, so now we can see that some people like the rectangle arrangement. Now you can see it is arrange the data, arrange the tables present in the data source view in like a rectangle position. Okay, it's like looking like a rectangle. So it is looking rectangle, how the rectangle will look like. So this is how the rectangle will look like now. So here it is showing it as this manner. This is also called as a rectangle. This is showing like this. And sometimes people will like in a diagonal manner. Okay, so like this. Okay, in a diagonal position like this. Okay, now let us see. So arrange tables, it is arranging the data into a rectangle position. And if you click on again one more thing, arrange tables. So if you don't want the design, you can go on arrange it one more time Okay, now let us say what is this arrangement. Suppose if your uh, tables present in the data source view is not in a particular order. Okay, let us say that. So some overlapping is already there. Okay, so if your tables are present like this. Okay, so if your design is like this, not in a particular order, or some overlap is happening. Okay, now you can say your design is not that much good, some overlapping is there. Now if you select this option arrange tables, it will arrange the table in a neat manner. Okay, it will arrange the tables in a some good pattern. So some overlapping, you can see overlapping is not there. Okay, that is the use of arrange table option. Okay, and we have one more thing. Now it is arranged in a rectangle position. Now you can see we have one more arrangement like switch to diagonal layout. If you click on this switch to diagonal layout, now you can see it is arranging in a diagonal layout. Okay, it is arranging in a different manner. Okay, now if you go on switch to rectangle layout, you can click on this rectangle layout. Now you can see it is shifting to the, it is rearranging your design in a rectangle shape like this. Okay, now we have one more option called refresh option. Okay, this is very important option. Okay, refresh option is, so it will recognize the structure changes. It will recognize the uh, changes happened in your database, underlying database. It will structural changes. Okay, structural changes means not the data. So if any new data is inserted, it will recognize. But if you add an extra column, if you add extra column for so and so table, and if you remove the existing column, or if you change the data type of a so and so column, okay, so it will recognize those changes. Now let us see. So in your, we have added the dim currency table. Now let me go to the database. Okay, so now let me go to the database. Now this is pointed to the adventure works. Now we have one dim currency table is there. So select star from dim currency. Okay, select star from dim currency table. Now you can see we have some three columns. Now let me add a alter table dim currency. Add something like currency dollar or currency name, or let us say currency uh, country. Let me have some, whatever the data type, let me have some varchar. Okay, so I'm adding a new column dim currency. Okay, now if I go to this SSAS and if I click on refresh, now you can see it will identify the list of changes happened in the underlying database for this table. Okay, now it is telling that okay, in the dim currency we have added a new, a change is there, that is we have added a new column called currency countries there. Okay, suppose let us say in the product table, so let us say something like so let us say in the dim promotion table, so let me go for it. So sp underscore help dim promotion. So this has so many columns. No, now let us say we have note, then method, date time. Now let us say that the minimum quantity, so it is integer type. So let me change it to big int. Okay. Now I am changing the data type of the column. Data type table name, that is promotion. Okay. Alter column. Okay. Alter column min quantity. Okay. Let me make it as big int. So instead of integer, I am making it as big int. Okay. Now you can see my SP help account. So it is changed from integer to big int. Now you can see it is changed from integer to big. Now if you can go and see that, and if you click on refresh, it will show the list of changes happen. Now you can see the change for min quantity, there is a change happened. Okay, like that. Okay. So if you have deleted any column, that also will be shown here. And if you want to add those to this, if you want to apply these changes to the tables present in the data source view, you can click on OK. Now you can see those tables. Now you can see those by DIM currency. You can see here currency country is added here. Okay, currency countries, a new column is added here. Okay, now if I go and delete the table, delete the column. So let me drop this column. Okay, so alter table in currency, drop column currency country. If I drop this column, so this is a new column I have added now. Let me drop this. Okay, now you can go and refresh. Now you can see currency country column is deleted. Do you want to apply this? Yes, I want to apply this. Now you can see the table is column is deleted from the in currency dimension. So that is the use of refresh. If any structural changes happen, so I can detect and do the same thing in the data source view level also. Okay. And the last option is zoom option. So if you want to increase it to 100%, if you want to make this view more bigger, you can go and do like this. And if you want to decrease the zoom, so you can go and decrease the zoom to 75% or 50% or to fit. Now you can see whatever is the number of tables, it can fit to the same one window. So no scroll bar will come if I select to fit. Suppose if I select 75%, now you can see the scrolling bar is coming. No? Suppose if I select to fit option, it will fit the entire design in the same window. No scroll bar. Okay. So these are all the different properties available in the data source view, and you can expect the questions for new named query and the refresh option. So in data source view, you can expect interview questions for what is a new named query and what is the difference between the actual database view and the new named query. And we have one refresh option of what is the use of it. Okay. Can I stop now?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, thank you. I will send this recording.